Hey guys, PrinceofMacedon here, doing a Rome Total War online battle. I command the Juliae Romans, and my opponent is General Hast Novak in command of the Gauls. We'll look at my Roman army first. I have 6 units of legionary cohorts and 2 squadrons of Roman cavalry. Let's go look at the Gallic army commanded by General Hast Novak. He has 3 squadrons of barbarian chosen warlords, then 4 units of warbands, 8 units of forester warbands, and 5 units of chosen swordsmen. Alright, so the rules for this battle were my opponent had to use Gaul, and he could not use artillery, but my opponent could use 20,000 denarii, and I could only use 10,000 denarii. So those were the restrictions on this battle here. Alright, so my opponent's going to advance forward, and at the beginning my opponent was like hitting me like crazy with his forester warbands, because he has 8 units of them. So here's the first. You're going to see me use my guys in testudo formation. And typically I wouldn't do that, but given the circumstances I'm going to. So that's a close-up of the testudo. Anyways, this is the fort battle, as you can see. So my guys are stuck inside this little wooden fort.
Now we must rely on men to be a new wall.
You can see my opponent has penetrated the right side of my fort, and I'm gonna keep my guys ready at attention here. So my plan is to play this battle very systematically. I'm going to designate certain units as reserves, and I'm not gonna commit them until I absolutely have to. Because my opponent has so much money to work with, and because his army is so massive as a result, I know that this grinding battle is going to make my guys really tired. And once my legionnaires get tired, they fight very ineffectively. So I'm going to keep guys out of battle for as long as I can before I commit them. Or if I see an advantage to doing so, then I will do so. Alright, so my opponent's going to send in his warbands first. And when I saw his warbands come in first, I turned off my pila, because I don't want to waste my pila on fodder units. And once I saw his chosen swordsmen come in, that's when I activated my pila. And I'm going to pepper them with my pila. And you can see my opponent did not put upgrades on his warbands. He concentrated his upgrades into his chosen swordsmen and his cavalry force. So you can see what his intent is. And at about this point in the battle, I really wanted to see his warbands rout. Because if they rout, they would probably run backwards right through the rest of his army and cause panic and loss of morale throughout his ranks. And being that his guys are a barbarian faction like Gaul, then that loss of morale might prove disastrous. But you can see that the panicking troops didn't cause panic throughout the rest of his army, unfortunately. But I'm going to keep duking it out with his dudes. And you can see his chosen swordsmen, they have tons of upgrades. But I'm going to duke it out with these guys. And those guys are holding their ground against my legionnaires. I believe his guys are gold, and so are my legionnaires. So in that respect, the fight between the legionnaires and his chosen swordsman was kind of scary. Because if my guys even beat his chosen swordsman, then that would mean I would have to beat them by a big margin, because I can't afford to trade man for man in this matchup. If I do, then my guys are history. Because remember that his army is almost 3 times my size. So his guys are slowly trickling into my fort. My guys are gonna fight for as long as they can. But I will send some support here on the other side of that big green blob of Gauls. I'm gonna send 1 unit back through the tent area, and I'm gonna smack them right on that unprotected side that they have right there. And that's where his warbands are. And here's another breach in my fort. This is right in the main entrance of my fort, right in the center. Okay, I do have 2 units of legionnaires right there, ready to receive them. And that 1 unit of legionnaires back there in testudo, that's my reserve unit in that sector. So as I said, I'm going to use reserves, and I'm not going to commit troops until I absolutely have to. I want to keep them fresh. And outside of the fort, I sent a decoy Roman cavalry force. What I want to do, I want to lure his horses away from the rest of his army. And look, you can see his horses have taken the bait, and they're going to chase that unit of Roman cav. Here they are, and there's his general. And the reason why I did that, I'll show you why. Here's my other squadron of Roman cav. What I want to do, I want to get some hammer and anvil strikes on the backs of those chosen swordsmen right there and warbands. What I wanted to do was destroy his attacking force by counterattacking him with a reserve of horses, kind of like Caesar at Alesia. But unfortunately, my opponent has such a big army that even though I suckered his horses away from the rest of his army, he still had a whole crapload of reserves ready to ward off my cavalry assault. So when this little horse counterattack failed, I went back to my original plan, and my original plan was basically just to grind these barbarian troops down systematically with Roman discipline and soldiering. So here's this chosen swordsman, and here's my horses. And here I made it look like I was going to leave, but then I went back for another charge, or at least another attempt to hit the back line of his attacking forces. But actually his forced warbands stopped me there. The thing about forester warbands is that they also carry spears, so they're pretty good at taking down Roman cav. And so that plan went right out the window. Alright, here in the little center, my two legionary cohorts threw back that assault, and I'm going to bring them back here before they get out in the open. Anyway, back to the fighting on the right side of the fort. You can see there are two units of chosen swordsmen routing, so I was very relieved to see that. However, my troops are very depleted right now, and that fight against the chosen swordsmen made them really tired. But I'm going to chase them out the fort, and then I'm going to bring my troops back and reform them. I don't want to go out in the open, because then that'll be to my opponent's advantage. But you guys know from my previous fort battles that I like to go out in the open and destroy my opponent before he even gets to my walls. But yeah, because my opponent had so much money, then I decided to hang back at my fort here. Alright, this is the last set of chosen swordsmen for my opponent, and they finally rout. There's my general. But some of his guys will stop routing and they will come back into the fighting. But as a fresh unit, there are no more fresh chosen swordsmen. And here you can see my opponent throwing in his second wave, and these are his warbands. So his warbands are pretty weak, especially considering that they're not upgraded. But the fact of the matter is, the warbands have tons of troops in them, like over 100 guys per unit. And my dudes are very tired from fighting those chosen swordsmen. Plus, like each of my guys, they're down to like 24 units, or 40 units, or 30 units. Alright, after like 3 minutes of hacking away at those warbands, I finally managed to beat them back. But you can still see my opponent still has a few troops coming into the fort here. And apparently some of his forester warbands still have missiles in them. But my guys at this point are very heavily depleted right now. Over on the main entrance of my fort, you can see my two legionnaire cohorts have beaten back their share of Gauls in that sector. Alright, now my opponent's throwing in his forester warbands. So it's gotten pretty desperate. Over on the main entrance, my opponent is sending in his final attack wave, and these are his horse units, all three of them. And they are rushing into my fort. They're trying to hack down my legionary cohorts. And it's a good thing I have my general there. My general is going to keep my men inspired in face of this little onslaught. Alright, so my guys are bringing down some of these horses here, but his horses are slowly pushing my dudes back. And they might possibly break the morale of my men, because my guys are very tired right now, and heavily depleted. And I'm not sure why my opponent brought the barbarian chosen warlords. I would have brought the lesser cav, and just upgraded the heck out of them. Anyway, since my troops are victorious on the right side, I'm going to transfer them to the center, and I'm going to help out with my general unit fighting off the Gallic horses. So here they come. All my legionnaires are very tired, but with all that training and discipline, they are managed to fight even longer. Alright, and look, finally, look who comes into the fort. My Roman cav. They're finally doing something useful. So I'm gonna try to trap his horses inside my fort here. and try to break his general down. And this is not the last of my opponent's troops. He still has more troops outside of the fort. And there you can see he just brought in a unit of warbands.
The enemy general flees.
All right.
Press forward.
The enemy general is retreating.
His army is broken too.
And I guess he got away from my legionnaires. But yeah, my opponent still has troops outside the fort. I'm gonna pursue them out. I'm gonna cut off part of the video here, and I'm gonna show you the last phase of the mopping up operations. Well, there's my guys leaving town. Alright, this unit of forced warbands, that's the last of his troops. And those are my legionnaires. They're going to chase him out of town.
Rome demands victory from her generals, and this day is clearly our victory.
Alright, battle is won. I'll let you read the results yourselves, and a good game to my opponent.